Hey there, it's CJ Willie, and I'm cracking a pack. Today is pack number 7 in the Magic the Gathering Amonkhet Bundle Bingo. Check out my preview video for the explanation on how this Amonkhet Bundle Bingo will work. I've added the link to the preview video in the description below. So far, we are on to pack number 7. And we have 4 more to go. Not looking so great on our bingo card. We've only been able to mark off the foil rare mythic and the free space, so hopefully we'll be able to mark off another one today. As I open the pack, I'm going to be talking about the cards from a very casual Magic player viewpoint. I think it's kind of a different way to take a look at the cards and get an idea of how they play out from a very casual perspective. After I open the pack, I'm going to choose the best card out of the pack. Maybe you might agree or maybe you won't, but at least it'll be fun. So let's get to cracking pack number 7 and mark off another bingo square. Okay. First card out of the pack is Compelling Argument for 2 mana, 1 and a blue. It's a sorcery. Target player puts the top 5 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, cycling 1. This had some interesting payoffs. It's, I think, a little bit worse than Tomb Scour, single mana. In a mill strategy, it didn't really appear to be one in kind of the Amonkhet Hour of Devastation sets. It's a card that I've kind of toyed around with in a mill deck. Cycling makes it nice, but usually I've got other card draw features, and so it's not something that I'm really playing too much. Thresher Lizard, 3 mana, 2 and a red. You get a lizard that's a 3/2. Thresher Lizard gets +1/+2 as long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. So this was on the very end of the white-red aggro strategy. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. A 4/4 for 3 mana is kind of nice. Late game, it's okay. I think that there are a lot better options in the aggro deck, and it just didn't really fit in either like a blue-red spells deck or a green-red deck. Giant Spider, 4 mana, 3 and a green. It's a spider that's a 2/4. It's reach, so this harkens all the way back to the early days of Magic. It kind of held its own in this block. There was a blue-white Flyers deck, and usually their butts were pretty small, so Giant Spider definitely shut those down. But in a red-green kind of monsters build or a blue-green monsters build, this card just didn't really do much. Even in limited, it was nice to have, to block. Cursed Minotaur, 3 mana, 2 and a black. You get a zombie Minotaur to this 3/2 menace. This definitely was a payoff in like the zombie deck, the white-black zombie deck. Even in an aggressive deck that was featuring black, Cursed Minotaur did some work. Menace was really no joke, and if you're able to throw on a couple of cartouches on this, you could have a 4/3 or even a 5/4 menace that was really hard to deal with. I liked Cursed Minotaur. I think it was pretty good common. Emberhorn Minotaur, 4 mana, 3 and a red. You get a Minotaur Warrior that's a 4/3. You may exert Emberhorn Minotaur as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+1 against menace until end of turn. So this one wasn't too bad. I mean, a 5/4 menace. It kind of played on the very back end of the white-red deck as an aggressive card, kind of the top of the curve. I ran it a few times with Top Crop Elite, which was a white flyer that when you exerted gave creatures +1/+1. And I found that I had some success. Usually on turn 5, if I was able to play out my creatures right, exert this guy, exert Top Crop Elite, on turns 5 or 6, and usually deal that last bit of lethal damage. So at the very end of the scale, it was an okay card. It wasn't a must include, but it could do some damage at the end. Cradle of the Accursed is a land. It's a desert. You can tap to add 1 colorless to your mana pool, or you can pay 3 generic tap, sacrifice Cradle of the Accursed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Yeah, I didn't play with this too much. A couple of times I did play. What I really wished is that I could activate it at instant speed and not sorcery. So it wasn't one of the desert lands that I played too much with or even found much value. Floodwaters, 4 or 6 mana total, 4 and 2 blue. Sorcery, return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. You can cycle it for 2. I did like Floodwaters when I played in more of a control deck, or maybe a little bit of an aggro mid-range blue deck. Usually I could win the game by casting this, returning 2 blockers, and dealing lethal damage. If it got to the point where I just didn't need it, the 2 generic mana to cycle it was nice. So I like Floodwaters. I thought it was a good card to play. Stinging Shot. 1 green instant, put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature with flying, cycling 2. This was a pretty good card in green. It's a strictly worse Plummet, because Plummet will just destroy any flyer, but most of the flyers in the Amonkhet format had butts of 3 or less, and so Stinging Shot in green did a really good job. And if you didn't need it because you weren't facing flyers, you could cycle it for 2 generic mana. So it was definitely a decent sideboard card in a green deck. Wasteland Scorpion, 3 mana, 2 and a black. You get a Scorpion that's a 2/2 Death Toucher, has cycling 2. Just like Cursed Minotaur that we saw earlier, these two were a pretty good combo in draft. Wasteland Scorpion for 3 mana, a little bit high on the mana curve for a Death Toucher, but it held down the fort when it came to defense and creatures on the ground. And if for whatever reason you didn't need it, which was rare, you could cycle it for 2 generic mana. I liked the Wasteland Scorpion definitely. Electrify, 4 mana, 3 and a red, instant. Electrify deals 4 damage to target creature. This did some work. I mean, it killed most of the creatures in the Amonkhet Hour of Devastation, kind of block. It handled most of them. For a common though, and 4 damage, any target would have been nice, and it would have made this card a lot more playable. First uncommon is Watchful Naga. 3 mana, 2 and a green. You get a Naga Wizard that's a 2/2. When you exert Watchful Naga as it attacks, when you do, draw a card. So I really liked Watchful Naga. Once again, you'd exert it. Usually by that time on turn 4, you'd have some sort of combat trick that could keep it around. And there were times in a green deck, kind of a little bit more aggressive green-red deck or a green-black deck, I could exert it and get a card off of it. It was really nice. I don't think it was as great as Hooded Brawler, which was a common, but in green, being able to draw an extra card, isn't something to, downplay. All right, next uncommon is Blood Rage Brawler. So for 2 mana, 1 and a red, you get a Minotaur Warrior that's a 4/3. When Blood Rage Brawler enters the battlefield, discard a card. This was an awesome card. It was so hard to deal with in the aggro red-white decks or any aggro deck. Sure, discarding a card, no big deal. For a turn 2 4/3, this card just was a beating. And it was really, really hard to deal with because already, they're attacking on turn 3 with a 4/3. Unless you got lucky and played like a Ret Crop Spearmaster, which is a 3/1, and gave it up in defense, even then it wasn't going to work because there was some sort of pump trick, some sort of combat trick that would just wreck you. I like this card quite a bit. I play in a Pioneer Minotaur, black-red Minotaur deck where I utilize a lot of discard tricks, like Lava Axes and other things like that. Fiery Temper. It's a great card. I like Blood Rage Brawler. Our final uncommon is Honored Cropped Captain. It's 2 mana, a red and a white. You get a human warrior that's a 3/2. Whenever Honored Cropped Captain attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn. So this was the uncommon you wanted in the red-white aggressive deck. I mean, as you can see, you can combo it with Blood Rage Brawler depending upon how your mana worked out. This is going to attack, Blood Rage is going to attack. It's a 5/3. There were cartouches that, the white cartouche was a great cartouche. The red one was great as well. It was just really hard to deal with the red-white aggressive decks in Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation. And Honored Crop Captain made that even more of a headache, more of a nightmare. Okay, let's hope we can check off another square. So we're to the point where we are at our rare and mythic rare. Come on, good card. It's about time in the Fat Pack Bingo and the Bundle Bingo that we get a really great card to put us over the top. Granted, we did get one of these that had significant value, but in the rare slot, let's get something great. And we have Soulscar Mage. Okay, even though that's not a card for us to check off here as one that we're looking for in Bundle Bingo, Soulscar Mage is a good card. It's about a $4 card currently in Amonkhet, out of the Amonkhet set. So it's a single red, human wizard at 1/2. Prowess. If a source you control would deal non-con damage to a creature an opponent controls, put that many -1/-1 counters on that creature instead. So this gets around the indestructible creatures. This was a nightmare creature to play against. I haven't personally played it because I just haven't had a copy of the card. A friend in my play group has a playset of these annoying cards. He spec'd on it early when it was low, and he plays it in a deck where he's just putting -1 counters on all my creatures and killing them off. It's a really, really difficult creature. It's a lot like Swiftspear, Monastery Swiftspear, which starts out as a 1/2 and also has prowess. Now, Swiftspear Monetary Swiftspear has haste. This has prowess without having the haste ability, but still a difficult card to play against. It's a card that I like quite a bit. I'm glad to have a copy of it. And then Plains and a 1/1 Warrior token. So my favorite card out of the set, or what I think is the best card out of the set, for me, and how I, my current usage is Blood Rage Brawler. It's a great card. 2 mana. Drawback, you got to discard a card. Not that big of a deal, especially if you have some sort of recursion, some sort of flashback, jumpstart, you name it in your graveyard. Even then, on turn 2, putting the 4/3 down, like I said, I run it in a current black-red Minotaur deck where I use the discard card shenanigan, like madness kind of effects to my advantage. And so even if I'm playing this on turn 4, turn 5, I'm still getting value out of the card because I have mana up to deal with, a creature or deal with the situation. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please subscribe and share. Take some time to tell me in the comment section what was your favorite or best card out of the pack. Until next time when I'm back to crack pack number 8 of my Magic the Gathering Amonkhet Bundle Bingo.